Yes, hi. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, London. Good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, Lagos. Good evening, Abuja. Good evening from the United States. Good evening from wherever you're watching me from across the world. I'm yours and truly Frank Bello once again. I'm coming live and direct to you, my avid listeners, viewers, the world over, this great day, Monday, the 12th day of November 2018. Yes, good evening to you all. You're welcome to my show. Yes, I can spot you at your Okundimu. You've just locked in. Yes, good evening, Ayo. Yes, before I actually go into the nitty-gritty of tonight's show, this great Monday evening in London, Stephen Adeyinka Baba, you're welcome. Prince Adebukun, the High Chief Odogun Ulisa in my Akure Kingdom is equally in. Let me salute each and every one of you before we begin to dig deep. But before that, let me first seize this opportunity to invite other people in too, so that they can catch up, because in episode 6 that I made last week in my car during the course of my work, because I had to stick myself on break, I realized that I was actually flagged off by Facebook. And after watching the entire clip all over again, because people kept telling me that they couldn't hear me and that something was really happening to the transmission at the time. But I thought probably because it was a grayish London, that because of the grayness, that was why the reception, because the cloud is low and the frequency at which we can receive obviously will be interrupted. So I thought it was the cloud that was interrupting the signal, but that was not the case. But I was really flat. So what I was unable to complete in episode 6, I intend to complete right now. Thanks, Ayogundimu Ewayo. You've already shared the program to the AAC people to actually join in this show. It's going to be very hot. I'm going to assure you guys, it's going to be very hot, because I intend to repeat exactly what I did before I was flagged in that podcast. But obviously because I had a very busy weekend, so I was unable to do that, to come live to you guys. So, but first, let me seize the opportunity to invite a handful of people, my regulars, into the forum. Prince Adebokun is already in. Hi, Chief Odogun Ulisa. Yeah, let me quickly invite all these dudes in. Dr. Kintide, Franka Obi. Yeah, you just give me some time, because it is not my style that you guys should miss out on such. Yes, Stevie. Okay, yeah, I think yeah. Okay, Pastor Adele General. I'll invite those guys in so that we all can actually discuss in our usual style. Fola Kintide changed his picture. Yes, Franka Obi, I can spot you. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I can spot you straight up. You came straight. Yeah, thank you. Franca, please share it now, because by the time I kickstart, I don't want people to start asking me what's the topic of this course and so on and so forth. Yeah, you can see me. I just came back in just now, and since I am in that good active mode, I said, okay, let me just quickly knock this out of the way so that things will not just keep piling up and I won't be able to yeah. I'll acknowledge all of you individually one by one when I'm done with this. Just give me 1 minute. I'm going to invite everybody, friends, foes, everyone. I'm going to invite. Who cares? Do I really care? No, I don't care. I'll invite everyone. Vote the Buhari Dean, the Atiku Nation, everyone. I will invite all of them. Let them come and listen to that crazy man, crazy old man. I don't care. They've given me all sorts of names. Some people out there who probably were even trying to chat me up. Some women out there trying to chat me up, trying to befriend me to see if I'm so vulnerable, but not vulnerable. Then they turn to other medium to say, oh, maybe he's gay. And I always tell them, okay, you think I'm gay? Go and bring your first daughter or your, they're too old. So that's when they said, oh, that man is mad. I've been called all sorts of names, to be honest with you, but I don't really care. I'm only bothered with what I have to do to better other people's life, humanity in general. I don't really care. Look, I don't care about anybody. All I care about is my duty, my discharge, the discharge of my duty to humanity and the entire world. That's what I am bothered about. I'm not bothered about any flipping human being. I'm not bothered about Buhari or... No, I'm not. They are human beings like you and I. So why should you fear? Why should you be scared of those people? I'm not scared. And they think if they kill me, I'll be scared. I'm not scared. Look, the Son of Man dies but once. Yeah, let's go to the hotel group. Who have we got? Yeah, that. And I know exactly when to stop. Yeah, we're back in our winter months. As you guys can see, we're back in our winter months, and the winter months, you can see I'm really sweating, and just bear with me. Hotel group, India group. Let's go to the India group now. Yeah. Dr. Owade in Oshogbo. Yes. Yeah. Guys, please share it now if you want to. If you feel you've got some people who are smart, intelligent enough, and who should be aware of what I have to discuss tonight. Juliet. Yeah, that one. That. Okay. No. Okay, Julia. No. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Kilo group. Yeah. Yep. I've not seen Koya Solo for a while. Where has he been? I hope everything is well with him. Kadia can't tell me Nigeria too. Yep. Yep, 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 yep. Oh, Kelechi from the City People in Nigeria. Okay. Right. All right. I saw Toluala during the weekend. I think that was on Friday or something. No, oh yeah, it was on Friday. Yes, Stephen, I think Kaladipo is already in. Okay, yeah. Okay, the mother group now. The Bola Tinubu Asiwaju's group. Yeah, here they are. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then okay. Okay, yep. Oh, I accidentally sent that to the wrong person. That person has been trying to get hold of me and I've been dodging the person for a while. Okay, who have we got on the Oscar group here? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Papa group. Let me see. Yeah. The Quebec group. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here. Okay, now let's see who have we really got. Okay, I stopped the last time with High Chief Odogo Olisa, Prince Adebukun. Yeah, Franca Obi, thank you. Abimbola Owoshemi Okpebo, you're welcome. Ogbeni Agba, Ademola Michael Babalala, yes. Innocent Iyeri, good evening. I'm seeing that first time. I think you're one of the Omayele Showare's AAC group. Dr. Akintide is equally listening to this program all the way from the United States. Kenya Omo Akinagwed, you're welcome. High Chief Wumi Alabi, Chief Elejoka in Akure is equally on board. Tunde Oyinloye, yes. Olumide Ken Afolabi, you guys, you're welcome. Okay, good evening world, good evening London, good evening Nigeria, good evening Lagos, good evening Abuja, good evening United States, and to the rest of those people who are in Europe as well, good evening. Now, today is the 12th, Monday the 12th day of November 2018. And the time in London is just gone 4 minutes past 9 o'clock. Adebanjo Adebi, yes, you're welcome. It's going to be very tough, and it's going to be very volatile, and it's going to be extremely ruthless. I am going to be tough. I'm going to be volatile. I'm going to be ruthless. So I've got that venom in me charged up. The poison in me is charged up. That's why I'm telling you guys, share it now, because it is important. It is extremely important. Pastor Adio General, you're welcome. Earlier on last week, I made a show in the car, a live podcast in the car. And in that podcast, I thought everything was okay, although London was grayish. So, but I never had the impression that I was flagged by Facebook. But I got a lot of people who were actually leaving notes to tell me that they could not hear whatever I'm saying and that there was interruption in the podcast. So I thought, oh no, that can't be, because if there was any interruption, definitely I will know, but that never happened in that case. So I carried on, but having watched the podcast last night because I was really busy, and I told you guys I won't be coming live over the weekend because I had a lot of things and I had guests around, so it was practically impossible. And whilst I've got to attend to certain things, you know, my mind I'll be focused in that particular issue and that agenda. So guys, tonight's topic is the same. Hashtag 2019 Nigeria decides, but this time episode number 7. So we have to decide collectively as Nigerians. If I tell you that Nigerians are not passionate about their country, I'm lying. Every Nigerian out there, in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, in the diaspora, are so passionate about that country that is meant, not was, is meant to be one of the greatest nations on the surface of this planet. But bad leadership, stupid, corrupt leaderships messed up the political progress, economic progress of that country since it was created as far back as 1960. A lot of people, look, they've labeled me an outcast. They've said, oh, maybe he's a madman, Frank is a madman, Bello is a madman, he's not a normal human being. Do I care? Like I said, I don't care. Let the works of my hand judge me. I don't want any human being to judge me. Let my maker, God, who created me, who molded me to come to this world to preach and to salvage those who are battered, let that God be my judge, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to account to anybody on earth. When I return back to him, it is me and him on that judgment day. And then he'll ask me, I gave you this special skills, this power in you. You got them. Why didn't you use them to rescue humanity? That is exactly what is bothering me. And I'm not scared to talk about anything. In that last edition that I was flagged, I was talking about, one, Buhari's certificate scandal. But because I was flagged, and after having watched that same podcast, then I said to myself, okay, if this is the case, then I will repeat that same podcast, but in a more terrible fashion that will shake up the entire Nigeria and the whole world, because I have to expose a lot of things. I've kept those information in the cooler for a long time because obviously as a journalist and as a publisher, information will come into your domain. You don't have to act on those information because we are custodian of information. you have to keep them to one side, waiting for that time when it is appropriate for you to act and begin to unleash those information to the rest of the public. That was exactly what I have done in my own case. I will acknowledge a handful of you guys coming in later on. Right. Muhammadu Buhari's credentials. We're going to talk about that, and that is first and priority on this topic. And then second, the second part, we are really going to explore that man that is inside Aso Rock. People believed to be Muhammadu Buhari. We will look into that, and I'll be giving you guys dates and events as they came. Although some of them, I have to admit, some of them are already in the public domain. When I say public domain, that means it's been made known to the public through means or clean means or by crook. But I was surprised today that I saw the same valid information now in public domain. So, and two governors in Nigeria are already reacting, and they're now fighting back the system, having known that they know about that secret. So we're going to talk about that first. Because I was flagged, we're going to look into Muhammadu Buhari's certificate, and then we will go to the second part, whether the man sitting inside Aso Rock, is he truly Muhammadu Buhari or a Sudanese guy called Jubril? We're going to look into that. But first, let me first acknowledge a few people after High Chief Wumi Alabi Joka, Tunde Oyinloye, yes, after you guys, Olumide Ken Afolabi, yes, you're welcome. Adebanjo Adebi, I'm seeing that for the first time. Pastor Ade Ojeniro, you're welcome. Tolu Alashe, yeah, I saw you in Dalston Market when I was buying fish and you were cracking jokes with me. Prince Eniola Ikusawe, yes. Yes, thank God I've got somebody else on board. Alaji Molade is on board. So, Prince Ikusawe, you're all scared. Now, guys, let's go straight into your supposedly Muhammadu Buhari at Aso Rock with his certificate scandal. No, let me make it known. I don't belong to the APC. I don't belong to the PDP. All I want is good governance in that country. Now, I have this for you because I was cut short I was interrupted. So the first clip I'm going to play for you guys was an interview that was granted by Femi Fani-Kayode, the former aviation minister under President Olusegun Obasanjo. Fine, you might probably consider him not a clean, decent guy, but at least thank God we've got such impeccable human being like Femi Fani-Kayode from the other side of the opposition in Nigeria. Now, I want you to follow me very carefully, and then let us explore exactly what Femi Fani-Kayode is trying to say about Muhammadu Buhari's certificate. Listen.
21st of January 2014, the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, General Muhammadu Buhari, addressed a press conference where he attempted to explain the series of controversies surrounding his academic qualifications, especially the secondary school certificate. Again, the APC candidate, rather than provide a conclusive proof that he possesses this minimum qualification, went into a session of blame game and shifting of what ordinarily ought to be his personal responsibility, as he said, and I quote, "I have formally requested my old school, Provisional Secondary School Katsina, which is now known as Government College Katsina, to make available the school's copy of the results."
Contacted Muhammadu Buhari contacted his alma mater, secondary school, in 2015 for them to provide or to produce his school certificate. Now, in some of my previous podcasts, before this became explosive, because it seems whatever I have to discuss in this platform will find itself as a hot debate in news the next day on channels TV. I made it known, and I think, yes, Dr. Umiaki today was watching the show, as he's watching the show right now from the United States. And Dr. Akintade is my big brother in his 70s. We're from the same place in Akure. Dr. Akintade is an historian. He's a custodian of information. He was educated, well-groomed. And before Dr. Akintade, there was my dad. And at least in my lifetime, I saw all my dad's qualifications, right all the way from his General Certificate of Education, London matriculation, and as well as all his degrees. Now, my dad was actually exempted from London matriculation because from Government College Ibadan, he came straight to read civil engineering. So, and my dad was way well educated before Muhammadu Buhari, who claimed he wrote his GCE or WASC in 1961. And in those days, there was no photographs on our GCE ordinary level or WASC. I knew I wrote GCE ordinary level conducted by West African Examination Council when I was in Form 4. And I wrote my WASC subsequently in Form 5, because that's the way my dad normally puts his children. So in Form 4, you will enter certain subjects. You can maybe 4 if you're strong enough. Maybe you can, all the subjects you want to try back in your WASC, like my other siblings did. Toye in America did 9 subjects in his GCE when he was in Form 4 at CMS Grammar School, Lagos. And in that same papers, he repeated the same thing, but he had distinctions all through. Repeated the same paper. My dad was stunned. There was no picture. And I explained to you guys at the time, it's just your name, your name, and then your examination number, your center, the date that that examination was conducted, no picture. and then the center, and then at the bottom of those important information, the WAEC will then list the subjects. So if you say physics, mathematics, chemistry, physics, A1, mathematics, A2, biology, A3, English, C4, chemistry, C5, English, P7, that P8, and then F9 means you have failed that subject. So that was how it was in my time. And then if you proceed to your 5th year in secondary school, that's when your school will then prepare you guys. Your school will take over. They'll prepare their students for their West African School Certificate Examination, WASC. And when they prepare you guys, it is that school. That school will have its own center number. And most of the time, most of the schools, they've got big halls. So maybe on a Monday, mathematics. So if you don't have any examination that day, your principal and most of your teachers are not expecting you in the school premises. You have no business there. It's only those who are writing examinations, their WASC, who are allowed. And the seats will be organized in such a way that there is enough gap that you cannot even bebon. Bebon means you cannot cheat. And then some of the teachers plus officials from WAEC office will invigilate. As far back as I know, and as far back as the mere fact that my father was even educated, Dr. Akintade probably and Muhammadu Buhari are the same age, if I may put it that way, but no picture. So what Femi Fani-Kayode is saying here was that he approached his secondary school in Katsina. I saw a lot of faults, and I saw everything that Femi Fani-Kayode actually pointed out. But before Femi Fani-Kayode probably started enumerating on those points, after having evaluated Muhammadu Buhari's supposedly certificate that was presented to us at the time, I knew something was fishy, and I knew exactly as a printer and a publisher that something went wrong. I knew it was forged. Let's listen to Femi Fani-Kayode again.
Of the Cambridge West African School Certificate, end of quote. It is unfortunate that the more General Buhari tries to extricate himself from the crisis, the more he stumbles into a new phase in the unfolding.
See, the more Buhari tries to get himself away from the pit of hell that he dug for himself, the more this same supposedly Muhammadu Buhari that you think it is Muhammadu Buhari at the State House is digging his own pit of hell. Because I tell you something, he presented that certificate. I knew that certificate because there was a picture inscribed in it and the picture of an old man. I knew something was wrong. I knew from the one that Muhammadu Buhari never completed his secondary school. Muhammadu Buhari was recruited into the army. He never completed his secondary school. But because the Northerners were adamant in sending their children straight into the army, because he that holds the gun holds power. In the western part of Nigeria those days, Awolowo was busy educating the Yorubas. The North were busy throwing their uneducated children into the army. That was an advice by the people who molded Nigeria into one, the British. So this time I will put that blame on the British. So he went straight into the army, and in the southwest, in Yoruba land, if you end up in the army, that means you are a total failure. Listen, when I was in primary 5, in my primary 5, I was equally, in fact, to sit for the Nigerian military school, Zaria. It was a free form. That form came. My school teacher at the time looked at me. I don't know why Mrs. Ono thought that, oh, I should go into the military. So with her, we filled the Nigerian military school Zaria's form in my primary 6. But I never told my mother that my class teacher filled the Nigerian military school form for me. And then the letter for me to sit the common entrance examination to the Nigerian military school Zaria then came. I was meant to sit that exam at the Methodist school, primary school, Olowobowo in Lagos. The moment that letter came, and my grandmother, Mama Nurse, because she was a nurse, saw the letter addressed to me. Obviously, they were concerned. I was not even given the opportunity to even open the letter. They just ripped the letter apart for me to appear. Everything was set to appear and then sit for the common entrance examination. Mama Nurse said to me almost instantly, my grandmom in Surulere, I was living with them in Surulere at the time, and then said, you into the army? No way. What do you want me to tell Zede Bello when he comes for his child? And my dad promised them that the day he's coming with his axe. So that was how they put an end to that, my sitting that military school, because they needed people at the time. That was how bad it was. So Muhammadu Buhari was withdrawn. He was a dollar. He doesn't know anything. He was not smart. He was not intelligent. So he went straight into the army. He was recruited straight into the army. And I'll tell you exactly what happened after that. All the emirs in the north were the one pressing the button for Muhammadu Buhari to be promoted. And that was how he managed to skip every hurdles within the military hierarchy. He never passed any military examination. Muhammadu Buhari is not as smart and intelligent as people like Ibrahim Babangida, Wushishi, General Wushishi, Abdusalam, and all the rest of them. No, he was a complete dollar. So here we've got a situation that, I knew this man never finished his secondary school, even in Katsina. That Katsina, you see, some of the discrepancies that I found in Muhammadu Buhari's allegedly forged certificate at the time was that Katsina State was never created, not until Babangida came in 1987 and created Katsina State. So, but many, you see, Nigerians are, these people think that some Nigerians are so stupid that they don't really know exactly what they are doing. That's exactly what is coming here. Now let's listen a little bit further with what Femi Fani-Kayode has got to say.
Narrative of his obvious complicity in a matter that borders on perjury and which has called his avowed integrity to question. It is quite unfortunate that a few hours after General Buhari's press conference, some documents appeared on various media platforms purporting to be the APC candidate's results released by his old school.
That's right.
Having carefully studied the statement of results signed by the, in quotation marks, school principal and an, in quotation marks, an examination officer of the Government College Katsina, as well as the attached document titled University of Cambridge West Africa School Certificate 1961, we wish to make the following observations and comments. 1. The results sheet, which was attributed to the Cambridge examination body, is clearly a superimposition of one document on another, as you will shortly see in the enlarged image of...
You see, I said something earlier on. Welcome, Sister Bukola Murakinyo, Hajia Labake, Uluyadi Gentle, you're welcome. For last meet, Ayono Anjo, you're welcome. Manix Coca, yeah, I will say it loud because I'm not scared of these guys. Look, I'm not scared of them. Let them come for me. I'm not scared of death. To be honest with you, I'm not scared. Femi Fani-Kayode used one word: superimposed. You see, the moment Femi Fani-Kayode used that word in that press conference, superimposed, something went through my veins that yes, Femi Fani-Kayode had already consulted with experts in the printing and publishing industry. And that was why he used that word, superimposed. Now, superimposed, another word for it in the printing and publishing industry is something that we call montage. Did you hear that? Montage. M-O-N-T-A-G-E. Montage. So montage simply means image and text manipulation. You see, those guys that did that job for Muhammadu Buhari with that image manipulation are not very good. Probably Muhammadu Buhari doesn't even know that there's a place called Uluwale in Nigeria that can get him a better deal if he really wants something that is close to original. And if institutions like the British High Commission in Nigeria and the American Embassy can be scared of that same Oluwole, I think that president is a dunce. We have a dunce as a president in our country. So we've got a situation whereby there were loads and loads of discrepancies in the forged certificate that your president presented to INEC in 2015 for him to be elected as the president of that country. Let's listen further.
The result sheet as published. The column lines on the part where names are printed do not align with the blank columns, while there is an introduction of extraneous lines on some other columns. Please see image.
Yeah.
Let me just show you that.
It's going now right onto the main screen to show the whole world that forgery.
The lines do not join.
Yeah, which is
The
very
lines
obvious.
are higher here.
I saw all those.
So it's not a straight line. That suggests clearly, not just suggests, it's evidence of the fact that this is not the same document. Another document has been superimposed on top.
Superimposed.
And that is why you don't have a straight line. It's broken.
Manipulated on top.
Thing. The second thing is this. Don't move too far. Okay, I think it's that one. Go back to it. Go back to it. It's that one. If you look here, you will find that thick line down there. That suggests that one document was superimposed on another, and that is why it is thicker down that line. Now the third, well, do we stick to those two now? We come to the third one. Yeah. So, okay. The third thing we need to point out is this.
On the grades.
We haven't come to that yet on the text, but let me just point
on the grades.
I'll refer to it. The part of the document that refers to his results for maths has been blotted out, which is interesting. And I'll come to why that is interesting in the next, when I read my text. So I just wanted to point those out to you graphically and clearly. I can come back to it if necessary. But let's go. On the mathematics column of the candidate, I pointed that out to you just now. Muhammadu Buhari, who was assumed to have scored an F in the subject. This raises a very fundamental issue of validity in view of the fact that the accompanying result sheet states that, quote, any alteration or erasure renders this statement of results invalid, end of quote. This is the standard practice in all interpretation of documents,
that's right,
especially academic records.
That's right.
The question we put to General Buhari and his party is whether this alteration was done by the University of Cambridge. Now, let me just go back to that so it's very clear. We're talking about, and we all know why. So that's it. In all subjects, except English language, have been carried forward from the 1960 examination, end of quote. The question arising from this is this: when exactly did Buhari sit for all the other subjects claimed to have been passed in the secondary school examination? Our conclusion from all this is that the documents purportedly released by Government College Pilot Katsina, upon which the APC presidential candidate hopes to bury the doubt about his eligibility for next month's election, are forged, manipulated, and fraudulently procured. They are therefore untenable in fact and in law. We do not know who the authors and masterminds of this forgery are. But whoever they are, we urge them to come forward and be identified. If they fail to come forward voluntarily, we hereby call on the police and other security agencies to seek them out, find them, arrest them, interrogate them, and prosecute them in accordance with the laws of the land. We reiterate our call on General Buhari to submit himself to the police to answer charges of perjury, having lied on oath about his academic qualifications. This is what a man who claims to represent integrity and due process ought to do in this situation.
Guys, you have listened to that. Just immediately after that, then you remember the officials from WAEC in Accra, Ghana, then came up again with another version of the same Muhammadu Buhari's certificate. So altogether, we've got 3 different versions of Muhammadu Buhari's certificate already in circulation. See, the problem I have is this. Like I pointed out in the podcast that was interrupted earlier on, perhaps this will be impossible because I'm actually using a much more sophisticated system to make this podcast. They can still flag it if they want, but it will be extremely difficult. So Muhammadu Buhari lied on oath by declaring a sworn affidavit that his school certificate was with the military. The military came back and then said no, there was nothing in Muhammadu Buhari's file concerning his certificate. That the only thing that they got was a letter written by the principal of the school telling them that Muhammadu Buhari is expected to sit so and so examination, but he never did. So we've got those contradicting everything. And then Muhammadu Buhari, in order to buttress his chances in the 2019 general election to meet the educational requirements set in the Constitution, in which INEC will have to follow so tightly and to the letter, had no options other than to swear to an affidavit, a sworn declaration. So the question that is now bothering me with this certificate saga by the man who we all believe is supposedly Muhammadu Buhari at Asorok is that why has he chosen to lie to Nigerians? What on earth is happening to Nigeria whereby the president of that country does not even have a WASC or a GC ordinary level? And we've got a sitting vice president who is a professor of law and a son, a senior advocate of Nigeria, who is powerless. What the hell is happening to that country? Is this not going to lead us back into the question of restructuring Nigeria? Because that restructuring is not going to go away in my own agenda. We have to go back to the old Western region, the Eastern region, and the Northern region. Let each region govern itself. The reason why the Hausas, the Northerners, are holding on to Nigeria is because of the oil in the South, which is very clear to me now. That is just the simple fact. Now, we want to go into other areas because, please guys, make no mistakes, I've not been paid by anybody. I don't know I know those politicians, but I'm just telling you, airing my own views and my concern to that country that we are so passionate about. That is exactly what I am doing. You see, there was something that came through to me. Manik Stoker, yes. Abayomi Abiodun, you've joined in. Oh, La Porsche, Sioni Davis. Congratulations on your wedding. I watched everything. I wish you all the very best and a very blissful marriage with your new man. Congratulations. You see, in 2017, let me give you a breakdown before we go into the nitty-gritty of whether the man that is currently in Asorok is Muhammadu Buhari or an impostor. I've been waiting for that. So first, in 2017, I want to give you the fact right now that over $118 billion of our crude oil was sold. Nigeria realized over $118 billion. And out of that over $118 billion, supposedly Buhari's government only remitted $39 billion to the Federation account. I'm not quoting from my head, but that was substantiated by Femi Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN. So if we take out the differences, 118 minus 39, over $79 billion is missing. Yeah. Femi Falana was the author of that. And in 1970s, in 1970s, the 70s, when the same Muhammadu Buhari was Minister of Petroleum, listen, $2.8 billion disappeared. $2.8 billion in the 70s was a huge, staggering amount of money. Look at it this way: if you're looking at $2.8 billion that disappeared in Muhammadu Buhari's nose as petroleum minister in the 70s, I'll tell you exactly what 20 naira can fetch you those days. 20 naira those days in the 70s that I'm talking about will feed a whole family of 10 for a week. 20 naira will feed a family of 10 for the whole week. Sonny Edokbolo, you're welcome to the show. Okay, I want to move into the next tough, terrible area concerning the impostor inside Aso Rock. Now, you guys will remember that Adams Oshiomhole and Rochas Okorocha are at loggerheads with each other right now, because you see, for Rochas to be at loggerhead with Adams Oshiomhole, Rochas had already planned himself for what is to happen today. Not only Rochas, Ibikunle Amosun too, Ogun State Governor, is there. These two are now singing like canaries. You know, canary bird sings. Yeah, so they're now singing like canary birds. So, but first, Rochas Okorocha said, I will tell the whole world that the man in Aso Rock is an impostor, not Buhari. He made that known. And then there was another British politician and a former military intelligence officer called Eric Stuart Joyce. Now, Eric Stuart Joyce as well, I'm quoting names here, you guys, equally stated that the original Buhari is dead. He said it, that the original Muhammadu Buhari is dead. But he wrote that exclusively on his website, and he's now challenged the current Nigerian president to prove otherwise, that he's not Muhammadu Buhari. So he was mad. This same guy, Eric Joyce, was mad that Nigeria has got a capable man as vice president, and some cabal are now manipulating several millions of people, close to 200 million people, and then holding that country to ransom. So he's saying that the president is dead, as a matter of fact, that Buhari that you guys are looking at inside Aso Rock is not the real Muhammadu Buhari. Now, I'm going to give you some facts that I've got in my domain. Welcome, Bayo Nee Thomas. But those facts, they've now gone viral. And I think with the agitation for the state of Biafra now springing up left, right, and center, and Nnamdi Kanu equally trying to pull in Israel into the conflict. So if Nnamdi Kanu is trying to pull in Israel into the conflict, maybe the North will try as much as possible equally to pull in Saudi Arabia into the country from the north. So Nnamdi Kanu wants to pull Israel in from the west, from the east. Now, after Nnamdi Kanu made that podcast, Nnamdi Kanu then came up. I knew about that, about those facts, but I was incapacitated because I just didn't want to be the first person to make that move to set Nigeria on fire. But I think we might as well set the country on fire now, so that the whole world will know exactly what we have to deal with. Because Nigeria is sincerely sitting on a timed bomb, and that bomb can explode anytime from now. Now, they claim the facts and figures were released about Buhari's death. First, I want you to follow me very carefully, because after this, I will round up the entire presentation for tonight, and I'll let you guys go and have a good night rest, and myself. Number one, on the 17th of January 2017, mark those dates, 1701, 2017, Buhari collapsed in Aso Rock. These are dates. On the 18th of the same January, the following day, 2017, Muhammadu Buhari was flown to the United Kingdom. When he arrived in the United Kingdom, Buhari went through brain surgery. And whilst he went through the brain surgery, he came out brain dead and in a coma. Number 4, he was then left in oxygen. He was breathing with oxygen. He was surviving through oxygen for a week. So the oxygen was switched off on the 27th day of January 2017. Number 5, on the 28th of January 2017, the next day, his remains, Buhari's remains, was flown to Saudi Arabia and buried. Number 6, Muhammadu Buhari's wife, Aisha Buhari, was captured at the airport, and when she was asked where she was coming from, everything is on record. She said she traveled to Saudi Arabia for lesser Hajj. No, she never traveled to Saudi Arabia for lesser Hajj. She was returning back to Nigeria and not the UK, where her presumed husband was. So Buhari, his remains was taken to Saudi Arabia and then buried, and then from Saudi Arabia, piam, she landed in Nigeria. 7, immediately after Muhammadu Buhari died in London, 4 men, four different men were fetched, were sourced from Sudan to be paid $250 million to impersonate your president, Muhammadu Buhari. And I'll give you the lowdown to that. The lowdown to that was that the North felt they will be shortchanged again this time, because they were shortchanged with Umaru Yar'Adua. And again, it has happened when the Northerner is in power and a Southwest is vice, or a Southerner is vice. So rather than allow that to happen, that was why those 4 men were outsourced from Sudan. And they were paid $250 million. By who? By Muhammadu Buhari's cabal. You remember at the time, Osinbajo was unable to see Buhari as well. Everything was in a comatose at the time. The only grace was that Muhammadu Buhari delegated not full power, but partial power to the vice president, Osinbajo. So 4 men were outsourced from Sudan and were paid $250 million each to impersonate Buhari. Now, they got 1 out of the 4. For nearly 4 months, doctors in England were working on that 1 that they got. Resembles Muhammadu Buhari very well. They got 1, and that 1 was very close. So doctors were working on surgery, cosmetics surgery, on that impostor. One thing they couldn't do, one thing that cosmetics surgeons could not get right in fixing, was the impostor's ears that will look more like Muhammadu Buhari's ears. Now listen to this. Because in Asorok, everything is coded. So this impostor has got a different fingerprint. Muhammadu Buhari's fingerprint is different. And if Muhammadu Buhari has to enter anywhere, all he does was put his fingerprint and he gets access to anywhere within the villa. So they couldn't change Muhammadu Buhari's fingerprint. And because they could not change Muhammadu Buhari's fingerprint into their new impostor, that was why they could not get access into Buhari's office in Asorok. But what happened? The cabal then lied to Nigerians. Remember, they lied to Nigerians that rodents, rats, invaded Buhari's office and they've taken over the office. So rats can drive the president away from his office. Is this making sense to you guys? The reason is because that gave the cabal time to change all the doors round so that the new man will have his fingerprint inscribed. That's not all. I told you guys it's going to be ruthless and nasty tonight. Apart from the certificate scandal, there's a lot more that is going on behind the scene. And that's, you see, most people will say Muhammadu Buhari, Muhammadu Buhari. I kept on laughing at those people because sometimes I was crossed sometimes and I said, you guys are not smart. Listen, bring out, there is a log of the aircraft, the presidential aircraft that was ferrying Muhammadu Buhari all over the world. I will equally challenge the Nigerian government to bring out those log, the log of movement of the aircraft. All the airports that the aircraft landed, they've got their record. Let them bring out that log. Now, like I gathered, they said even the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, Her Majesty, sent a condolence message to Nigeria, but it was not carried. The cabal were busy doing otherwise. And let's go through that, then I'll give you instances again. Next, a minute silence that was observed by African leaders for Buhari during the African Union Conference was another area, gray or dark area, that Nigerians will have to revisit. And today, now that we are about to go into the 2019 general election, three governors mayors, 3 mayors, are now threatening to speak out if APC dares them. Rochas Okorocha, Ibikunle Amosun. Who is the third one? I remember the third one. But Rochas Okorocha and Ibikunle Amosun are at the forefront. What do they know? Why are they just coming up to speak? Have they held on to when they feel they are comfortable if their own political agenda is truncated in 2019? That is when they will then begin to sing like a canary. I'm going to throw that question to you guys. Back to our president, supposedly Muhammadu Buhari at the villa. I'm going to give you guys, welcome, Niyi Thomas, Tejuelepo, you're welcome. Father P. Josh, thank you for that. I'm going to set you loads of instances to prove to you that the man in Asorok at the seat of power is not really Muhammadu Buhari, because, and then we'll go into some other details and I'll begin to round up this huge and factual podcast tonight. You see, supposedly Muhammadu Buhari traveled to the United States on official engagement. Yeah, Ade Disu, you're welcome. I'm seeing that as well for the first time. When Muhammadu Buhari traveled to the United States, ask yourselves, did he travel with his wife, Aisha? No. There's a lot more going right now inside Aisha Buhari's life, private life. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into who is currently sleeping with Aisha inside government in Nigeria. I'm not going to go into that. But definitely it's going to come in. It's going to become a public hearing very soon. But that is their private lives. I know exactly what is going on. Somebody out, a governor in Nigeria is currently shagging Aisha Buhari. I'm just giving you that note. So why did the supposedly Muhammadu Buhari did not travel to the United States with his wife? When last have you seen both of them in public as husband and wife? When Muhammadu Buhari came over to England for the Commonwealth Summit, Aisha had to come because that was the Queen's event. And when you look at the moment the Queen shook Aisha Buhari's hand, look at the gesture from the supposed husband, you will know that wasn't Muhammadu Buhari. Last but not the least, this was just last week. Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles were together in Nigeria on official engagement. Prince Charles was received by the same supposedly Muhammadu Buhari at the airport. The Prince of Wales came with his wife, but your president did not show up with his own wife. Nigerians should start asking questions. Yeah. Nigerians should start asking questions. Is this Muhammadu Buhari? Nigerians should ask a very tough but difficult question. We need to carry out a DNA test on that man in Asorok, and then carry out a DNA test on Buhari's children. Aisha Buhari had already been paid off with several billions of dollars, not to talk. She's been paid off. I know that. I know how much she received. I'm going to come to that later. Not to utter a word. That's it. Franka Obi said, ha ha hey. Yawa don't gas. Yawa don't gas indeed. Father P. Josh said, only intelligent minds can comprehend this. Definitely. Welcome, Deborah Jackson. You're welcome to the show. Congratulations on your birthday. She's watched. Deborah Jackson is watching from the United States as well. Guys, if some Nigerians cannot think on their feet, not all Nigerians are dumb or are not smart. Look, guys, I've been on air now since an hour 22 minutes. Princeman Iheroma, go ahead, brother. We are with you. Maybe you have to watch this all over again, Princeman Iheroma. I will have to bring this to an end right now. Some of you can actually enjoy it by you. If you want to really share it, because I've really said quite a lot. I've talked about the certificate saga of the supposedly Muhammadu Buhari in Asorok, and I have today questioned the authenticity of that man. That man is not the same Muhammadu Buhari that we all know. Muhammadu Buhari passed away in 2017 in London and was buried in Saudi Arabia. Nigerians should start asking questions. Look, guys, it's just coming to an hour 23 minutes. I hope to bring this to an end. I want to seize this opportunity to thank each and every one of you all across the whole world for tuning in to watch. I want to seize this opportunity to thank those of you who are share it. Just share it. Let other people know as well the problems that we have in that country. That country is sitting on a timed bomb. Yeah, the powers that be knows, but they can't talk. They're scared to talk. But I've just exposed everything. I hope I have not been cut off. So guys, if you missed anything, just go back and rewatch the whole thing and you will enjoy. Thank you all for tuning in to watch this great show. Let me see. I won't promise, but maybe on Friday, on Wednesday, today's Monday, maybe on Wednesday, maybe we'll meet again in this platform and I'll come back to you guys with another heavy blow, probably something that's